Hi, I'm Sarah Meth. I'm a musician from London, here in Austin for South by Southwest.
One of these beautiful mornings, he will leave you.
You were speaking a little bit before about you went to a music school. Seems you've been working in music for a lot of your life. How did you first get involved with music? What's that story like?
I've always made music since I was a kid. It's just how I've made sense of the world, I guess. But yeah, I went to a music college in London, and I think that really kind of gave me a sense of community and confidence to pursue it. It's where I met my band that I play with now still. And yeah, just originally when I was a teenager, 16, just uploaded demos to SoundCloud, which was a lot more popular at the time to use, and it just kind of reached people that wanted to help me, and kind of just all went from there really. After I left school, started gigging around London and just met all my kind of friends and collaborators and bands that I really love from there.
And in terms of your sound, do you feel like you've grown a lot? When you were first getting into, when you were first starting off in college, did you have a similar sound?
No, I think my sound's constantly evolving, as we all are as human beings. But no, I think it definitely took a lot of different it took a lot of trying different things out. They're all still things that I genuinely love, and a lot of, I think, my sound is actually down to maybe a lack of resources, in the sense that I just use mainly my acoustic guitar and my laptop where I produce, and I've kind of found a sound that merges the two, because that's just what I have access to, and it's what I can use easily in my room, in my bed. But I think, yeah, as I've gotten older, my musical tastes are constantly growing and evolving, and different, you end up loving things that you never thought you would, and different things move you, and some artists that you love stay with you forever and some don't, and you kind of take little tiny pieces of all those things, and it kind of eventually creates your sound and who you are. And so yeah, I think, I hope my sound continues to evolve. I hope in a few years the music sounds different, but it still has things that make it distinctly me, or the artist in all page. I would define my sound as lo-fi, but kind of classic, and at times sassy and sensitive, and yeah, pretty free.
Who are some of your influences right now, creatively, or that got you started?
Well, my number one queen has always and will always be Nina Simone. She's just the absolute goat. I have her name tattooed on me because I love her so much. And it's crazy, I still feel all the things I felt when I listened to her music that I did when I was 16, and I probably will in 10, 20 years from now. And I think that's really beautiful, because it feels like sometimes her music understands me in ways no one else does, yet me and her have lived completely different lives in different decades. But yeah, always her. And then more currently, it's like honestly my friends and the people I'm around in London or like here. And yeah, I feel like I'm just influenced by like my relationships with the people around me, and a lot of us are into the same different kinds of music, and so it's like cool to see it kind of like rub off on each other. Yeah.
And can we talk about the London music scene for a little bit? 'Cause I think
Yeah.
it's great. Like I saw you had gigs with like Mary in the Junkyard,
Yeah.
Lil Granddad, all of them. Like, love them. How do you feel like that, like you're saying, rubs off on you, or like what do you like so much about that scene?
Oh, well, I think the scene is kind of always like, again, it's always like evolving and growing into like new things. And there's just amazing music in London, you know, like I think being here actually and like seeing community in different ways here has made me reflect on the music. I mean, there's so many different scenes in London, but the kind of scene that whatever I'm like friends with in London, yeah, I guess it's just a kind of melting pot of like so many different kinds of sounds and experiences. And I will say, I think in London, like sonically, things are a little bit more kind of like angsty. And in the US, it feels a bit more like janky at times, which is like kind of cool and refreshing. But like, yeah, love Mary in the Junkyard. Love Sorry, like work with Louis on a lot of my own music. It's nice because we're all pretty involved in each other's stuff, I would say. Like, you know, if you listen very quietly, you'll hear a little me in an amalgamation of a choir of other musicians in London on Cam's record. It's coming out very soon. Yeah, like people, I think, are just like, people really love what each other are doing in London, and so there is a kind of openness creatively of like getting involved in each other's stuff, and I think that's actually really crucial and necessary to being a musician. And I think that kind of support and confidence in each other and genuine like love for what each other is doing is actually the thing that, you know, makes it grow and like nurtures it. Like that's the most important thing, I think, if you want to do music or any kind of artistic practice, is like finding your community and like trying to like put into it what you get out of it. Yeah.
And talking a little bit about like your own personal style, your own personal like songwriting process. How do you typically go about writing music, and how that comes to you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not really one way in which it happens, but a lot of the time it comes to me if I'm like walking around, like little melodies or little lyrics or kind of seeds of ideas. If I'm kind of like in motion or like, I don't know, I find it harder when I'm sat still to kind of like, that's when you like birth the song, but the kind of initial seeds, like they just come to me a lot when I'm walking around, like on the train, or like it's just a moment of feeling inspired and feeling like a kind of necessity to have to kind of like jot something down, whether it's like overhearing a conversation or like hearing like a little like thing or like seeing something, you know. And then I mean, sometimes it does just kind of like slip out of you, and it's like within 15 minutes you've like written a song, and that's quite a rare feeling, and it feels great. But I don't, you know, there's no rules for how anything is made. It's just a feeling that you can I guess like be present with. And I would say like when making music or when like writing songs, don't try and be like too much of a perfectionist, or like, I think basically you have to kind of follow your intuition and just get the initial kind of feeling out, and then after that's done, then you can be more like, you can critique it more, you can be more of a perfectionist and be like, that works, don't like that. But if you try and do that whilst you're birthing it, like you're just gonna, it's not gonna step out, you know, like, so yeah, that would be my advice, is to like, even just like, if all you do is just like pick up the guitar for like 2 minutes, like that's so much better than like, you know, putting pressure to like write something that like you don't even know what you want to say, you know. So yeah, I guess just trying to like be in tune with yourself, and yeah, like it's nice to let some songs like let fester, and it's like, oh, I wrote that a year ago, but it's only now that I've lived life in a way where I know how to finish it, you know. So yeah, don't put any pressure and just kind of follow where the intuition leads. Dream space for listeners to hear my music. I think part of the beauty of music is that like we'll never know how our music's consumed, you know, and it's like different for everyone. Someone said to me that they were like, someone asked them what kind of music I made, and they said like log cabin music, like they want to be just in like the middle of the forest, like listening to it, which I thought was interesting because like, I don't know, I've not written ever really in nature like this. It's always kind of in my cold London bedroom. But yeah, I mean, I would love to hear music out in the open on a hot day. I mean, that's like a foreign concept to me. So maybe here.
Your most recent single, Bromance is Dead. I was just watching the music video for that. That was awesome. Do you have like, how much of a role do you take on in like the visual aspect of your work, and like how does that influence music?
Yeah. It's very like important to me. Like it very much feels kind of tied in with the music, but like most things in life, it's kind of impossible to do without the help of my friends. So shout out Jack Shep, who made the video with me. Often I'll have kind of like concepts that I know I want, or a kind of like visual references that I know that I want, but it's kind of impossible to bring to life without my friends. And yeah, that's another great thing about finding your community wherever you are. Like it shouldn't just be constrained to music, because having all kinds of friends who make whatever the hell means you can collaborate, and you kind of also rub off on each other in that way. So yeah, I'd say like it's pretty, some songs it's like as soon as I write them I know what I want the video to be, but other songs less so, and it's still important to stay just as open to, you know, how it impacts other people's creative minds, because that's the beauty of collaboration, you know, like you can think you know what you want, and then someone else has something alien to offer that actually understands it better than anything you could think of, and that's why art is so precious and important. So yeah.
And then just a few last questions. Right now, is there anything you're working on in specific that you're excited that you can talk about? And
I don't know if I can talk about it, but there's something very like big and meaningful to me that is due to come out very soon, or start the rollout very soon, which yeah, is the thing that I'm most proud of that I've ever made, and I think kind of represents the live show the best, and feels like it's bridging all my previous releases together. If you can take a wild guess what that might be, but I think that's all I'll say for now.
that's exciting. I think we've got it.
Okay.
And just a last question, being Teens Media Network.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for other young artists that are trying to get out there, get their music out there, get themselves going?
Yes. I mean, again, I think just the stress on community. I think often like being someone who creates anything can often feel, especially when you're a teenager, can feel actually quite like an insular and at times lonely thing, or like a private thing. I think there's a certain confidence that maybe comes through experience of sharing that. But I remember as a teenager feeling very shy and like secretive of all the things that I was making musically, and actually going to music school, like going to Brit and having teachers kind of see you and believe in you as a kind of shy 16-year-old was actually really pivotal and important to a kind of confidence and belief in like oneself in what they do. But yeah, aside from that, I would say find your people, find your community, and the way to do that is to just put yourself out there and not worry about being perfect or don't be afraid to, play a show that wasn't what you thought it would or anything like that. Just try and have as much open experiences to do with what you make as possible, because it will grow a confidence in you and the people around you, and will lead you to the right people, I truly believe. I would also say, for anyone who wants to be a singer in particular, join a choir, especially when you're young, because that shit is really, that stuff is like really beautiful and precious and teaches you how to work as a team, and will like train your musical ear to understand sound in a different way. So yes, find your community.
But it seems so wrong to me to give your sister hand. You've already got a